ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 307th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the webhead, Travis Snell.
I am the wall-crawling menace, Dylan Musk.
We're going to talk about lots of stuff today. Just to get a few plugs out of the way, go check out our Avengers Endgame commentary track. We did that last week. This week, it's might be up by the time you're listening to this, but the on Patreon at the $5 level, you're going to get the solo commentary track like 3 months early that we're putting on there for Patreon.
3 whole months.
That's ad-free,
crazy.
everything like that. So go over in the next few weeks. There's probably going to be some new additions to Patreon, some kind of rebuffering of the tiers and whatnot. We're jiggering some stuff around. So, and we thank everyone, Clay, Justin, Gabe, everyone that's joined so far on Patreon.
Yeah.
So thank you for that very much. In a very soon newscast, we got to do their questions. Clay has a really fun one. We're going to be ranking Taylor's steel cases.
Yeah, that's cutting to the core of Geekverse.
Yeah.
Really. I like that question a lot.
So yeah, we're gonna do some fun of those in the coming weeks here once we got all the rest of the geeks. But yeah, head over to Patreon. Lots of good exclusive stuff right now. But you're gonna want to get all the great stuff is happening now. But you're gonna want to jump on that bandwagon for 2020 because 2020 we got a good roll up.
Well, especially we have some Spider-Man news to talk about. We're gonna be doing a Spider-Man like PS4. The second game, the sequel is obviously going to come at some point. So we're going to do a cast just talking about what we want to see in the second game. So that's going to go on Patreon sometime this week probably.
Yeah, we're going to record tomorrow.
And then that will release like when did Spider-Man PS4 originally release?
7th, I think.
The 7th of September? Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be on there if you want to get that early. That's going to go up sometime this week. So
yeah, it's going to be good because we kind of brainstormed. Like we never actually talked about the sequel that much. We were
I think we were waiting, and then you were the only one who got the DLC, and they just never got around to it. So.
Go back. I reviewed all the DLC. We reviewed the game as well. So we've covered a lot of this game. We covered a lot about Spider-Man. So
almost. I was going to say too much. It's not too much.
No. So we got lots to talk about today, and I'm going to tell you what we're talking about today in my little stories here. Because today, was having a good day. Woke up to some nice Marvel Ultimate Alliance news. We're going to talk about that. Some DLC. Woke up to the Avengers gameplay. Maybe not the greatest, but still nice to see it on not a shitty
finally,
cam quality.
Yeah.
Walking Phoenix, like, we might make a sequel. That's great. Matrix 4 out of nowhere is going to announce. All this great stuff's popping off. But then we're going to lead with what was just the bummer of the day. So there's a report going around by multiple sources that Sony and Marvel have not come to agreement on a deal. We've kind of had a bunch of reports all day. Right away it was, hey, they don't agree. They walked away. Apparently Disney offered a 50-50 partnership. The partnership before was a 95-5% that obviously Spidey got to be in the MCU films, but then Feige had creative control of the films, and financially they just got 5%. There's rumors that maybe Marvel wants some hand in the spin-offs. So there's been tons of news going around today. Dylan, I'm going to start with you. Where do you lie on this? Where are you going? Because this is something we've been talking about probably since after Civil War, to be honest, because it's just, you're always worried, when is this going to run out? When is it going to run out? So one, are you just surprised that we're actually in this universe where it looks like there's a chance it might not, like this deal might end? And two, just what's going on?
I'm not going to say I'm surprised we're in a world where it's ending, because I thought it would happen eventually. I just didn't think it would happen today of all times. I didn't think it would happen this soon. It really came out of nowhere. And it really takes me back to the whole James Gunn incident of I don't know, I guess 2018 is when that's
last year Comic-Con.
Yeah,
it broke the week of Comic-Con.
About a year ago when that happened. And that started with just like, it started with a little bit of news, and then it just like caught on like wildfire, started spreading. You hear all these different sources. It goes back and forth. A few months later, just undo it. So I honestly, I feel very much in that camp, just based on the reports I've seen, stuff I've read. To me, it seems like something that I don't know what the strategy is from Disney or from Sony. Like, I don't know what their game plan is here with Disney offering like this 50-50, if that is what it is, and then maybe Sony countered, maybe they didn't. Who knows? That's kind of
that's been back
wavering
and forth too. Some people said they didn't counter, and some people said they did, and it came from the same trade report. And these are all coming from like big time trades. They're not just like rinky dinky Marvel. We love Marvel.ca. Like they're the guys that break the big stories. So
it's just it's hard to say what's truthful and what's not. But to me, it reminds me of that incident in that I really feel like this is like, I don't know if it's going to happen now or later or months down the line, but I feel like it's going to get undone, and that Sony will make a deal with Disney. I think they will come to some sort of agreement that's going to work for the both of them. I mean, I don't know. Apparently, Disney's also like, trying to get their hand in the
spin-offs.
The spin-offs. That's really weird and doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, at least tonally, like Venom's very different than what the MCU. I don't think they'd want I don't think Feige wants that Venom in their universe at any point. So why would he want to do that? And I don't think they care about Morbius, which is the only other known entity we have right now. And maybe Spider-Verse, maybe they want in on that. But really, if it's about money, then Spider-Verse isn't where the money is.
No, it wasn't a
it's where
huge hit.
Possibly the best Spider-Man movie is, but that's a whole different story. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's just... I think this is going to be something that's going to go back and forth, and it's going to be another one of those things where when the James Gunn thing happened, we talked about it for like 4 or 5 consecutive weeks on the podcast,
I remember that.
newscast-wise, and then just like months down the line, whenever new stuff popped up, and I think this is going to be the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that sentiment. I'll take the other approach that I think this won't be resolved by time, at least I'll say by time Spider-Man 3 comes out. I think we'll at least get one purely Sony Tom Holland movie. I think that... Because I'm just going to go off the truth of, not the truth of, if this was the truth of the 50-50. That, for me, I understand what people say. Like, if you look at Amazing Spider-Man 2, you can check out, we retrospect to that.
Sure did.
Not a great movie, and kind of, like, really put a damper on the franchise. And Feige, Disney, Marvel, the whole brand, they did really put Spider-Man back in that good graces. And they rose the character up. But the thing is, I just don't see... For anybody that doesn't get it, because I think there's a lot of people that are just blindly that they love the MCU and Sony's the bad guy for not agreeing this. But if you just take that away and you look at it from a business perspective, if you're going from a deal that you were giving someone 5% of your box office to 50, that is a steep climb. That's huge. So that's like right now, and this isn't even cutting. Someone did a good breakdown of if you take the theater cuts, Sony would be down to, with Spider-Man Far From Home, made $1 billion. If you took the theater cuts, they'd be down like $600 million. If you took market editing, that's another $200 million. So they'd be making like $300 to $200 million just off this movie.
Yeah.
Then you slice that in half again with Disney. Your earnings are gone, and that's why I think some people they just want the fanboy or fangirl. Oh, I want Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU, and I get that, and I do too, because I'm someone that haven't loved the films, but I would definitely take, kind of all these films we've got so far over an Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Spider-Man so much, and I think me and you are both on the same page in that we don't love the direction they've taken with the Spidey. They've definitely changed it. Almost feels like for the sake of changing things, making being different. But at the same time, they've also so much of that Peter Parker, that Spider-Man is like they've been building towards stuff, and it has repercussions to other characters. And so if you just take that out with like some random line some character drops that explains why he's gone, then that's going to be a real bummer. Yeah,
and that's the thing I think you agree with me too, is that on the spin-offs or the crossovers, he's all work. To me, he's done flawless. I love.
Yeah, I have no problems with how he was used in Civil War or Avengers. Yes, that's a small amount of time relative to. I mean, those movies just have so many characters, but still, like, it's just so much fun to have him in there with the rest of them.
Yeah, and he has great dialogue and back and forth with them all, and that's what I do. At the end of the day, I want this, but I could see it. I would be on the outrage camp if it was the exact same deal, and for some reason Sony's like, nah, we're not going to do this. We want to do our own thing, because then I would say, okay, they're full on being greedy. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I even if it was, hey, we want Venom in the movies, and Feige said no, and if they declined, I'd still go, are you really going to die on that hill of we want Venom in the MCU? So that's why for me now, and I think 100% I'm also in that camp where I think this is a full-on Disney's put this out. Taylor was in the group chat. We were talking. Taylor notoriously, I don't know if I'll believe it or not, but when the James Gunn situation happened, talking about that, he laid out the first day like this whole conspiracy, like they're going to let him go, they're going to let it go around for a while, and they might bring him back. And I'm in that camp with this, that I think this deal happened. And once again, too, there's these rumors of there was a counter, there wasn't a counter. I don't buy for a second Sony didn't counter. I don't think Disney went to them, said 50-50. They said no and walked away. I don't buy that for a second. They didn't say, oh, how about 25? How about 20? Like, not even to talk about it, just to say, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you would think going into that meeting, they would expect Disney would have some sort of counter. They would have some sort of new offer where they'd get some more cut. And 50 is pretty aggressive, but you'd expect that they'd have some sort of counter, even if it like goes up to like 10 or 15. That still seems reasonable, but really, I don't know. It's hard for me to picture that. Like, that's just such a different conversation than I've ever had. I don't really know what that's like.
Yeah, maybe one day, but I just can't picture Sony just didn't counter at all. So I think I think the deal didn't go through. They put this out there hoping that Sony stocks drop. Sony is being put in a corner because And I think some people are finally starting to come around, but since it's broke, it's all been screw Sony. Hashtag boycott Sony is trending right now and everything like that. And I think it's just because, one, we're all just going off of reports, which could be true. People are they're highly like educated in this realm. They don't put this stuff out there like these guys, they don't know, but still they don't know the 100% of the story. Most of these probably facts they're getting is from Sony's side and Disney's side. Those are the people, you know, it's not someone in the middle that happened to be in this meeting like, oh, I'm from Fox and I was sitting on the Disney or I guess Warner Brothers. Yeah, I was in Warner Brothers and I was in this meeting. I feel anytime if you hear, Sony didn't counter, that's from a Disney person. Sony saying we did counter, that's from a Sony person, you know? So like the James Gunn thing, we're never going to fully know, but it just, the narrative to me feels like Disney has backed them into a corner. And if that's true, if we go off that 50-50, I don't get how people can. They're just looking at it purely based on what they want in their entertainment, because 50-50 is just, that's huge. That's half your earnings gone. They just hit $1 billion. That's their biggest movie opening. Sony's had a rough year. Like Men in Black bombed. Lots of movies have bombed for them. So they're going to want to keep that. And to me, I want Spidey and Holland in the MCU. Like I said, I still like those films a lot. I'm a little disappointed in them, but I still like them. I'd like to see more. Yeah. But for them to lose 50% of their earnings I can see why they go, you know what? We're going to try, because also in these things that are in the reports that they've confirmed that Holland has 2 more Spider-Man movies and John Watts would be directing them both. They haven't said if that was a back-to-back situation, like filming them or whatnot, but that did come out. So no matter what, we're getting more Spider-Man with Tom Holland. And I just think that...
So question I had is... What happens with a character like a Vulture or a Mysterio? Like, where are the rights for that? Is that
everything? So everything Spidey is with Sony, so that would go all back to them. Like anybody, even if you had like Jonah, even like MJ, I guess technically she's not Mary Jane.
So like the only characters in Spider-Man movies that weren't Sony, I guess, were like Stark and Happy Hogan and
Fury, and Hill,
and Fury. Okay, so those, okay, that makes sense.
And that's the
so. What do you think they would do with do they want to use Vulture? Do they want to bring Jake Gyllenhaal in for Mysterio? Like, is that something? Like, what is their plan? Do you think? What do they do with this next movie?
Are you talking like in general at the plans, or what do you think Sony would do?
Like, what is Sony's? What are their plans with this? Clearly, they have. I mean, they probably always have like a plan B or something, right? If Disney did try to do something like this, they probably have an idea of what they want to do with the character now that it's been established.
Yeah, and they still got the same director. I think they would do whatever. I think they would do the exact same movie. I don't know if it would be the same quality, but I think they'll do the exact same movie they would do at the MCU with no MCU ties. If you maybe had a cameo from a newly Captain America Sam Falcon or something, Sam Wilson. Like stuff like that. I think they would do the same thing, but it is going to be weird. I understand why people are upset, because it's like if we would have lost Thor or Hulk in any of these movies, because now you do have a Spider-Man that's 2 films have been mostly surrounded by an arc with Tony Stark. The third one, you couldn't even mention Tony Stark. You wouldn't even have the rights to say anything. You couldn't refer back to any of that. I think it's still doable, but I think it's still, there's a villain. Spider-Man's a wanted character. And I did say in the review, I didn't know who does control like all the final say. Sony definitely has the final say, but I did say that I thought there was a chance that they left this cliffhanger of spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home for the next 5 minutes if you don't want to hear it, but I would assume if you're listening to this, you've seen it.
Hopefully.
The setup of him being a wanted man, I always thought that wasn't out for MCU to write him off of, hey, he's not on the Avengers. Why? Oh, because people think he's a criminal. And Avengers is technically a government-sanctioned thing. I think they could just say, the people, they felt uneasy with Spider-Man being on the team. Even if there's a waviness of him being innocent or guilty, I think that's how they would write it off. And now I think that leaves them a door to say, hey, he has some stuff going on and he might be a criminal. He can't be in Avengers 5. And then with I guess even with the Sony one, they could say that, oh, no one's here to help me because they think I'm a criminal, which is strange because I wouldn't buy that. I don't think Happy all of a sudden would be like, yeah, Peter Parker's a piece of shit but it's just, I guess if they're both their hands are tied.
How does that work? Like, can Marvel, can they not mention Spider-Man now? Like the same way that like Stark, you say that they can't mention Stark?
I would assume so, right? Because technically that's the thing everyone forgets, and this really shows that at the end of the day, anything that Marvel did with Spider-Man, Sony does have to give a final say, because people can be mad, but the film rights, Sony owns those. They didn't find them in a back alley. They didn't steal them. They paid for them in the 90s because Marvel was bankrupt. So they own it. So I think it's the same thing that they couldn't refer to Aunt May, they couldn't refer to Peter Parker, the Daily Bugle, anything like that, because it's a Sony property technically, you know. So it's just kind of like if we were talking about Smash, if someone said, hey, I don't want Salt Snake to be in there anymore, you couldn't put him in now, right? Or you couldn't have stuff from his game. So I think for both of them it works the exact same way. And that's the other thing I wanted to bring up too, and people bring up the money. When they're talking about this 50% thing, Sony also doesn't get any money from these MCU crossover movies. So to me, it's a little hypocrisy to be like, oh, we want some from you, but you don't get any from us. And I get it. Avengers Endgame still would have been big without Spider-Man, but Spidey still helps, especially in my case, is Civil War. I think Spidey helped that movie a lot. So if there would have been some sort of, oh, we get that, but you can also have this, it just feels like if you look at the pros and cons, Sony gets, okay, we get to stay in the MCU. Marvel gets, oh, we get Spider-Man in the MCU. We get to touch their spin-off movies. We get to get more money. Already, that's like a huge, it's outweighed so heavily, you know?
Quite an imbalance. I mean, I think the idea of Marvel not having to share the right or the money that they get from the team-up movies makes some sense because really for the the fact that they're only getting 5% for the Spider-Man movies, like, that's not why they had him around in the first place, right?
100%. Yeah.
So,
but even then and that's why I hope there was some counter of like, okay, then we want, if they did want Venom in the MCU, or we want the next time we make a Marvel movie that's not Spider-Man, we want, I don't know, we want Thor and Venom too. That doesn't fit at all, but just something like that, you know, like something where they could get that kind of quid pro quo where we get a character, you get a character. So then
that opens up the door that, like, the universes are connected, right? And Marvel definitely doesn't want that.
No, but that's the thing. So yeah, my prediction is honestly, I don't think it'll be resolved right now. And that's the thing. Other people have been saying that, oh, I think this will hurt them. But the thing is, when Spider-Man 3 happens, our parents and mainstream people, they're not going to know that he's not in the MCU. They're just going to know it's another Spider-Man. I think
it's going to be the same people making the movies. You know, Sony's going to be making these trailers again.
Oh, yeah, the posters, you know. But that's where I think where it can hurt them. People go, oh, it's going to bomb. It won't bomb that third one. The fourth one where it could come in and get hurt is if the third one comes and it's not a good quality. And people go, oh, yeah, you can see Kevin Feige. He really put the stamp and made this movie better, right? That's the thing where I think the third one I don't think will be hurt that much. And a lot of people are going to go, the box office will be lower, and they'll say, oh, look, that's no MCU, that's no Marvel. But they're also going to leave out the fact that Far From Home came right after Endgame.
Right.
And right after.
So what if it went like this? What if Sony, when they come into this new deal, their whole idea is, hey, you know, you can keep the kind of same deal we had before, but we want Venom as like the villain of Spider-Man 3, our Venom. And then that's when Disney counters by saying, we don't want to do that, but, you know, to do that, we'd go for a 50-50. Like, what if that is the scenario? So therefore, what if Sony just does that now? Is their Spider-Man 3 is like this team up against Venom? Like, what if that was Sony's plan the whole time?
If I heard that, then I would be on the Disney side. I still think 50-50 is a lot, but I think Sony should, like I said earlier, I don't think it's a hill to die on and be like, we need Venom in the Spider-Man 3 movie. I think they could pitch that, and if Feige and them said no, you go, okay, we wanted to see, but if not, then let's maybe eat in something else. But I don't think Venom, even though it's a, you know, it was a massive hit, the quality of that film, I don't think it justifies them trying to put it in there, because Venom was a hit without Spider-Man. They didn't need him. You know, it made lots of money. They're gonna,
but it'll make even more money together.
100%, and that is the problem. And you know what? That's thing. Let's talk about now with being no. Let's say this deal doesn't go through.
Yeah, I guess. Well, the reason I brought that up is because of what you're saying of. You know, the Spider-Man 3, they do it, and it's like all hunky-dory or something. But then maybe by Spider-Man 4 is when it's like, maybe that becomes an issue for them. Then maybe they don't have that play anymore of like the Venom card or something.
True, yeah.
Because I think no matter what, quality aside, like I feel like that movie would be huge. Spider-Man and Tom Hardy's Venom, that would be crazy. But who knows after that, without the Feige dust, without the MCU magic, who knows if it would stay on that interest level?
That's what I want to talk about next, because we have Morbius still coming out, which I cannot wait to see, in a sense of not that I'm excited, just to see. I just think that movie has such potential to bomb, and that's
we don't really have any info on it, do we? In terms of director, writer, or time frame?
No,
or
I
anything?
think we do. It's coming out next year. I have to look it up, but I don't think it's anybody that's big noteworthy that's done anything with Morbius. But I've heard that he's a fan of the comics, so that's always a good thing. We know Jared Leto's in there, Academy Award winner.
You have to say that.
Yeah. Oh, very true. But I think it's coming out. I know it's coming out next year. I think it might be in that October slot, like Halloweenish sort of deal, like horror-ish. So it is
still a while. Yeah.
It is coming out, so we should be getting a trailer in the near future. You know, next 6 months.
Can't wait.
But that's the thing. So let's say this deal just completely falls through, nothing happens. When do you think right away, so Spider-Man 3 happens, do you think right away they start hinting at end credit scene, Venom, Morbius, or do you think they kind of wait to see if something happens more with Marvel or just to lay the bricks?
You mean from Sony? Like Sony?
Yeah, because obviously you've seen Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's that classic, or I'd say infamous scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2 ending with a guy just walking past every villain in the Sinister Six and just being, oh, this is how Sony's setting it up. Like he's walking past Doc Ock, Vulture. It's like, you don't do that. So obviously, and I understand because they have a spotty track record. Look in the same year. They put out Venom, but they also put out Spider-Verse. That's like a really low tier comic book movie. To me, one of the best quality comic book movies. So what do you think their attack plan would it be? Dive in full force? Okay, let's do our Sony verse with Tom Holland. Do you think it's a wait and see? What do you think they do?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Venom right away.
Really?
Just do it right away.
Spider-Man 3, boom?
Yeah.
Or at least the setting up of Venom?
I honestly, he could be like the main villain in it even.
Wow.
Or, I mean...
or maybe Carnage.
With
it's like a Venom Spider-Man
two villains, like Venom's in the movie, villain first half and then kind of switches sides or something.
Spidey has to leave New York to go to San Francisco. Or that could be it, though. Legitimately it. He's a one-man in New York, right?
Yeah.
So what if he goes to
closer to home, but it's not home. Yeah. Some really stupid title.
Yeah.
I honestly could see them doing that because, I don't know, you're right, like the casual people at home aren't going to know the difference.
No.
They aren't going to know what's happening there. A lot of people don't even know that like X-Men is like a Marvel property and that they weren't in it. Like people just don't know these things.
They don't know Hulk can't get a solo film.
But everyone listening to this podcast knows and cares about this stuff. So I don't know. I feel like that maybe their route is just like that would be such a good selling point, and even have like, you know, Jonah back, like have him in the trailer or something, just show that off, like, hey, look who's back.
Yeah, they can do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I feel like they aren't gonna wait. I feel like they would just dive right in, honestly, because I don't know if they wanted to wait for like to get the rights back to do some specific stuff. I feel like they would have just waited to do Venom, but instead they just went ahead and did a Venom solo movie. Very, very risky move, I would say, but it worked out for them clearly. So
well, I wonder if they did it because again, what the rumor and innuendo is that they apparently wanted the same deal. And if that is the case, I understand why Disney wanted a little bit more. Then I kind of wish, like, obviously I had no idea how business works, but I kind of wish they just went like, okay, let's just do 10% then or something like that. Because I feel that Sony, they are doing Venom, which was a big hit, so they're doing Venom 2. They just announced Andy Serkis. Spider-Verse is getting a sequel. You got Morbius, who knows, but let's say if it was a hit. I felt the reason they rushed Venom, or at least not rushed, but they did Venom while Spidey was doing all this stuff, because I think they were legitimately doing okay, we have this deal with Marvel, we'll do that, and while that's happening, we'll do the side stuff, because they have the rights, so why not? Let's make our other money while they were sharing it with Spider-Man. And that's why, to me, it does feel like, I'm not going to pick teams because it's business, but if I'm in a camp, it's kind of Camp Sony right now with these rumors, because it's just, it feels like it makes sense from their point of view, like, hey, let's just do the same deal, we're going to do our Venom stuff, our Spider-Verse stuff, but then Marvel's like, no, we want 50%, and I like I said, I do think that's steep, but I guess now it's just they are left with this. How do you feel now? Because we talked about like a Venom, and then we talked about a Spider-Verse. How do you feel about the quality of this movie, Spider-Man 3, Foggy List, if it does happen? You uneasy? You hopeful?
I mean,
what do you...
Really I don't know. If you look at it simply, like if it's the same director and same team of...
Probably the same writers
and whatnot, like I think the quality would be... I would imagine it'd be pretty similar. I just don't know if it could possibly still be building towards something. It just wouldn't be necessarily as grand as what we have in the MCU, right? Because let's say Spider-Man 3 isn't Venom. It's not Morbius. It's just
Kraven.
Kraven, Dr. Octopus, whatever they want to do.
Oh.
Like if they just jump into that, like they could just start setting up for Venom or the Morbius team up or fight movie or whatever it is instead of whatever like the MCU stuff is, because really a lot of these Marvel movies do like stand on their own, and yes, they might have a quick cameo or something, but really you don't need those. Like Doctor Strange doesn't really need to be in Thor Ragnarok. That doesn't really matter if he's there or not. You can still do that movie the same and rewrite one page on the script and you're good to go. And that's
Bucky didn't need a cameo.
It's a bit. I would say it would be a bit different if Iron Man was still around, but he's not. Spoiler if you haven't seen Endgame. So really, I actually don't think it's that big of a deal. Like it sucks that Happy. Well, I don't really know. Happy Hogan must be an MCU guy. Yeah, he's clearly, because he started in Iron Man. So it sucks that he's gone, but really, he's not mandatory for that story. They can they can move on. Like he doesn't need to be there. And
even the end of the film, Aunt May was like, "Oh, we're
Yeah.
not really a couple," so they didn't full on say, "Oh, we're moving in." It wasn't a big plot point. It was still, oh,
yeah,
they're just
and like
starting to date.
when is that gonna come up from the MCU perspective? Like Happy Hogan's just, as far as I'm concerned, he's just dead now.
Yeah,
like he's
yeah.
not gonna be in any movies. Rip Pepper as well. She's gone.
Yeah,
So, for
until
like
Iron
10
Man
years
4 and 10
until
years,
Iron Man's child is in the suit. So like really, it doesn't really matter if they don't have like a cameo or something. Like
Yeah.
the movie will be virtually the same. So I mean, it's always hard to say how much Feige really had. Like obviously Feige is the mastermind who's seeing like how this movie's going to lead into that one, how it's going to lead into the next Avengers. But
and he did have lead creative control on the Spider-Man 2 movie.
Yeah,
he did have that.
I know,
right?
but
So-
what I'm saying is it's just hard to say. Like it's just hard to know how much Feige's input is on every individual movie, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much of Mysterio's storyline and whatnot was like Feige's idea or other people's idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Obviously, they're not going to have the whole team there, but maybe there's some really creative minds at Sony that are going to make it even better too. I mean, Spider-Verse was an incredibly interesting story and really well done.
And Feige had
So-
nothing to do with that.
Exactly. So
Is there a producer in the? That's one thing Feige has to take credit. I don't think there's a producer by the time he ends his career that is more known than Kevin Feige. You know, like you think he was a director, but he's
up
not.
there.
Like obviously he's a big producer.
Well,
he's doing
actually, that kind of part of the stuff I was reading around today. Like, apparently, Feige did have some, like, he was around the table for like Spider-Verse or
Well, that's
something,
what I'm
but he just
wondering.
didn't get any credit for it.
Well, that's what I'm wondering because I did
So
see that
I mean, it's
too.
just hard to know from our perspective, right? Like, it'd be nice if we could be a fly on the wall, a spider on the
yeah.
wall or something, and just like hear
Yeah.
these conversations, because it's always hard to say. Like, obviously Feige's great, but really on paper, I don't actually know what he does exactly. Like, I don't know.
I think he kind of lays out the outline of certain stories they're going to hit, the vibes they want to go. I think he's big time in the casting wise. Like he's sitting in all those. I think it's.
I guess the point is like it's never just one guy, right?
No,
it's always
and he's
it's always a
too.
team.
Yeah,
he's just like he's just the hat of.
I completely agree because to me, as somebody that loves all his other films, when I say Black Panther's so great, I can see Ryan Coogler's stamp on that. You know, I always look at it.
Yeah,
I've always made this comparison where Feige is the owner of the restaurant, and he goes, "I want you to cook this meal," and a director's going to cook it differently, but it's still Feige's meal. But it's like, oh, Coogler uses some Greek dressing, and then I don't know, like the Russo brothers just use barbecue sauce. You know, like
they sure do.
Yeah, and that's
crank it up.
Yeah, and that's what I think happens.
Nice sizzle.
Well, and it is even funny. It's because I think we talked about this when we did Amazing Spider-Man 2 that he wasn't a producer on that, but they did ask him, and there's this like things that leaked after the Sony emails of like they got these sheets from him of like, oh, this doesn't make sense and this doesn't make sense. So he's worked with them before, you know. So it's like that same thing. How much on those films did he just put his input on? Oh, hey, maybe Venom shouldn't do this, or was it a lot? I don't think it was a lot because honestly,
you know what would suck is if really like Sony's creative team and Feige were actually, doing well in conversations, and they were helping each other out, but then it was like Disney, like I don't know, the higher ups who were just trying to be greedy and trying to get some more money. It'd suck if that was the whole cause of this, because obviously who knows how much Feige had to do with Spider-Verse, and I don't know, but it would just be too bad if that whole connection was lost because of that, and hopefully there isn't like hard feelings there, and maybe they can recoup sometime, even if Spider-Man 3 goes ahead and it's just a Sony film.
Yeah, well, we've said that before, like James Gunn, that wasn't his firing, that was the higher ups, and he just has to go with, okay, I guess that's what we're doing, right? And same thing like this, like some people said that they've wanted, there's rumors that they wanted a producer credit on the film, and that could be it. I don't know why they wouldn't want Feige on as producer, but hey, maybe that just means if he's not executive producer and producer, he gets more money that way. I don't know. And
that very well could be it, yeah.
And that's the thing that I think all, like when we wind this conversation down, at the end of the day, that's all what it comes down to. I know people are very happy or they're very sad and they want Spider-Man back with the MCU. But if Disney is putting this information out here, they're just doing that so the real diehard people will whine and complain and tweet. Because at the end of the day, people, it's a company. I understand. Feige definitely has a passion for this. He loves this. But at the end of the day, they want our money. They want our tickets. And that's all it comes down to.
It's a business, yeah.
It's a business. So that's where people got to remember. It's not like, I don't like already that we've kind of painted. And I'm somebody that's been very critical of Sony in the past. But I don't think we should paint it as a good guy versus bad guy. It's just two companies trying to figure it out.
We don't have nearly enough facts yet to declare anything like that.
But that's already been the thing of, like I said, with the hashtag boycott. So I saw one person today tweet out that they're like, oh, good thing Scorpio looks so good, so I don't got to buy a PS5 because of this. It's just like, man, you guys are being some real crybabies right now. You're not gonna play the PlayStation 5 because, which I don't believe at all, but you're not.
It's like completely different divisions of Sony.
Oh, I know, and it's just like that's where it's just sometimes I love the MCU, and some people you could say I'm pretty, a shill or whatnot, but I think sometimes they get a little blinded about there's nothing outside this box. It's the same people when Fox got bought, everyone's just like, oh yeah, good, because there was no good X-Men films. You could argue, and maybe you don't think so, but something like Logan, I don't know how you could look at it and be like, oh, that's like a fail movie, and sometimes I think they just think it's MCU and it's their own little world and nothing else matters. But there is a greater world there, and one of those is business and money, and that's what the big problem is. It's not even creative right now. I'm sure that has some deal with it, but at the end of the day, it's money. It's Sony not wanting to give money, or it's Disney wanting more money.
Yeah, I don't know. It's good, especially this early on with something like this. Just chill for a bit, right? Yeah. Listen to the facts, which we have very little right now. If anything at all, it's just mostly rumors. Just wait until we know a bit more. Like, I don't know, and I see it like two ways, right? Like, I love what they could build up to with Spider-Man. I would love to see Spider-Man as a key Avenger in these movies. I think that'd be really fun. But at the same time, I don't really want Disney to own everything. I know maybe I'm hypocritical there because I really wanted the X-Men thing to happen, and I do. But at the same time, you don't want Disney to be have a full monopoly on like all of these movies. So
which they don't yet, but if you were to keep going down that path,
if Disney had bought out Sony, like the Spider-Man properties at some point in the last couple of years, like maybe we never got Spider-Verse.
Oh, that's a good chance.
That's not a reality I want to picture, right? No. So it's good to have some players in the field, and I mean, honestly, I would love to see a movie with Tom Hardy and Spider-Man. Just like some of the implications of what that means exactly might not outweigh what I want to see him in the MCU. But I mean, at the very least, we got this Spider-Man in 5 MCU movies, and that's pretty badass.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, it's hard to complain.
Well, and that's the thing too. When this deal happened a long time ago, it was not out of the blue, but it was just still. It was shocking that it actually happened, that these two companies come together. And, yeah, it was going to end, but that's the same thing that I said. I think Spider-Man 3 will happen without the partnership.
Yeah.
But who knows? 3 years down the line after Spider-Man, maybe Spider-Man 3 comes out and it is received pretty poorly, and they go, you know what? We are going to have to make some sort of deal with them. Maybe it's the same thing as Amazing Spider-Man 2, and that's where it's like, it happened once, never say never. You never know what's going to happen. It is funny that this news came out before D23. I honestly think it's just so they didn't have to answer where's Spider-Man. I think if they did put out, I think they can just say, oh, it's under negotiations. But it's good because in the next few months, we got some like Phase 4 cast plan out. And one of them we were going to do Avengers draft. And it was where like if Dylan drafts, let's say like Captain America on his team, no one can pick it. It's good that I'm probably not going to pick Spider-Man because I don't know if the likelihood is
risky pick for sure.
Yeah, and even on our Phase 4 predictions we did at Briggs, I think we all had Spider-Man on our 6 Avengers, and that would be, I'd have to listen back to my team and see who I would replace him with now, because that just seemed like a foregone conclusion. Oh, he was anointed an Avenger, he was given Edith, but if he's not around, he's no Avenger.
Yeah,
and they got to get a new hero for that young demo. I guess maybe Miss Marvel will be coming sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet. I kind of forgot. They really need to put her in there.
I think she's
pretty awesome.
Next 5 years you'll see her. Yeah. Anything else on the situation?
One question for you. What do you think they do with let's say Sony keeps Spider-Man and we don't have any sort of deal for a long time.
No deal. Howard.
What do they do with Jameson? What do they do? Do they bring him back?
Oh yeah. He's 100% back. I don't know who's called that.
Do you think he'll be a bigger character? Or do you think it'll just remain like he was pretty much a cameo?
Well, that's the thing when we talk about we talked about on the review, and we just talked about now as far as we've said that they can sometimes be different for the sake of being different. Is that a Sony call or is that a Feige MCU call? And that's the thing to me. And that's where maybe it could be the benefit, because to me, I always thought Feige and MCU, I thought it was going to be different. And we're not going to get the same Jonas. Get us that picture. So they were going for a different take. So for some reason, I think if it was the Sony film, we'd get more Jonah. Because I do have that theory that he is going to be the villain of Spider-Man 3 with Scorpion, because he creates Scorpion in the comics. So I think we're going to get him no matter what. And I think if just Sony, I think there's a chance we see him more in it, where MCU, they might have leaned back a little bit. But we have to. I'm going to be, if there's only one
Tom Holland, Spider-Verse, he'll have a voice in there.
That has to be a cameo, yeah. I wonder, I don't want to do a pity party, because this kid, he is younger than us, and he's making millions and millions of dollars. So he's fine for the rest of his life. But I wonder what he's thinking right now for all that's going on,
Yeah, he probably knows a little bit more than we do, so he's just like scared as hell to go on social media and accidentally drop some news.
Yeah.
I think that's always like his state, is that he knows some stuff, but he's just scared to talk about it.
He just, in the analogy I have, is just like some friend or like a school friend that is friendly with everybody, knows all these kids, and then his parents say, yeah, we're moving to Los Angeles, and but I want to stay in Canada. It doesn't matter. And that's what it feels like, where he's going to get moved. He could talk to his friends over phone.
He's like, what did I sign up for?
yeah, he's going to talk to his friends over phone, but he can't roll, especially if he gets put into Venom. Like, I don't know how he feels about that whole stuff. Spider-Verse, I think he'd be all for, but...
working with Tom Hardy is probably not the worst gig. So,
and you know what? At the end of the day, this is still just a fan dream. But if this deal doesn't go through and everyone's poo-pooing on, no MCU Spidey anymore, all Sony has to announce is, hey, you know what? We're doing like a live action kind of Spider-Verse movie, and we're bringing Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire.
If you bring Tobey back, it's done. I'm firmly on Team Sony.
Oh yeah, firmly. So that's what I mean. And that's the thing. I understand. They've made movies like Amazing Spider-Man 2. They've made Venom. Even Spider-Man 3, some people might throw out there. But then they've made stuff like Spider-Man 2. They made Spider-Verse, I guess. And honestly, I consider Spider-Man 1 a great one as well. So I think they're trying.
Yeah, they really they almost changed comic book movies in some way.
Oh yeah,
that Spider-Man 1 was influential as hell.
So they're definitely kind of batting at 500, but I have faith that they could still. I'm not gonna think that they
gonna cry.
Yeah, that's the problem. But I'm not gonna think that they are completely lost. They are a successful company, but at the same time, it does worry me. Anytime without Feige worries me. I still think in the next 10 years, there's a chance Feige gets promoted to one of the big positions of Disney, and it'll scare me when this is the first MCU movie without Kevin Feige, and I know he'll be there, but it's that will be a day too where he will step up, because I don't think Disney's letting him go. So there's gonna be a day where there'll be an MCU movie without Kevin Feige, and I'll be scared too. But you just gotta hope that all you gotta hope is from Amazing Spider-Man 2 and then wanting to spin off Spider-Man or the Sinister Six and even Venom, you just gotta hope that they learn from their mistakes, and that's what I'm gonna do. If the deal's done, it's gonna suck. I'm gonna mope about it for a day and be like, oh, that sucks. But then I'll try to strap on the shoes, be okay. Let's hope for the best here until I see Spider-Man 3, and if it sucks, then I go, well. Yeah, we made a big mistake.
How bad can it be? We got the same director. We got possibly the same team. We still got Tom Holland. So really, we're still going to get 2 more movies at least with these characters if contracts are anything to go by. So many people on Twitter I saw are sad that Tom Holland's gone. It's that's not the case, my friend.
You still got the best Spider-Man around.
He's not in the MCU, possibly, but I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe they can do stuff darker. Then we talk about Logan, we talk about Joker.
True.
I'm not saying they're going to make a rated R Spider-Man film, but maybe they do stuff MCU won't, so...
Yeah, give us the Black Cat and make it
pretty
risque.
God, yeah, that's what we couldn't get. We couldn't get that. The things that do suck, if there is no MCU, I want to say before we move on, again, we're eluded of Spider-Man and Deadpool. It's just funny that they just got Fox, and everyone's like, that partnership's going to happen. Nope, you're not going to get a Spidey and Wolverine. There goes all that. Now I wonder... Remember all those theories about who bought Avengers building and what? And remember in Spider-Man Far From Home, it was at that 1, 2, 3. Can't wait to see what's next. If that was something, it's nothing now. I guess they could still do that.
Oh yeah, movies, it definitely sucks that they were. I mean, they definitely had plans, but at the same time, I'm sure Feige had a fork in the road plan. Yep. Either way, at any point, if we could not have Spider-Man, here's how we're gonna tie 100%. Him out. And here's how we can go forward with it. So
because they had that same thing before the deal went through with Civil War. They had 2 versions of the script.
And I'm sure it's the same thing I'm sure it's been the same thing with X-Men and Fantastic Four. Just in case we get them, how could we tie them in at some point? So I think Feige's playing 7-dimensional chess here. He's got it all planned out.
Yeah, he's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. You know?
Exactly.
And the other thing I'll say is that I think, did I lose it? Oh, no, and that's where, again, you never know with rumors going on, because there's all those rumors, I think, around Far From Home time of, Norman Osborn's going to be the next big bad of the MCU. That's why rumors are rumors, folks. We talk about them, we have fun, but, nope, that's the thing that's gone if he's not around.
Yeah, we don't get these scoops. We just report them.
Oh, yeah, we always say that. That's always different. So, yeah, we're like Dylan said, this is giving me the James Gunn thing. Who knows, because I should have shouted at the beginning, we are going to do a cast for D23.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll know more by then. Maybe it's a big call.
We'll definitely let you know, so stay tuned.
Yeah. So we're going to be following this situation
closely.
Yeah. So
it was a heated topic in our chat today.
Yeah.
Our personal chat. So
yeah, I don't think Kirkland even knows the news yet.
That guy's off the grid these days.
He keeps finding out.
He's supposed to come to a cast tomorrow, so we'll see. We'll see if he's here.
He keeps finding out bad news pretty late.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to show at movie news is just that they're making a Matrix 4. They announced that. Keanu Reeves is coming back. Keanu Moss is coming back. She played Hogarth. And And then one of the Wachowskis is coming back. It's unclear what it is because it's
the
called...
Wachowskis?
One of the Wachowski. The Wachowski sisters now.
Are they like actors in the?
No, they're directors. I should have
Oh,
clarified.
okay.
Yeah. They
I have not seen the Matrix movies.
Yeah,
so.
they directed the first 3, and one of them, not both, one of them's coming back for this. It's weird because it's called Matrix 4 as of right now. I'm sure we'll get a subtitle. But then it kind of seems like the plot might be a kind of prequel-ish. The weird thing is, with only minor spoilers for Dylan, people that haven't seen it, with the character Keanu Reeves plays, is they've kind of said that he is a person that can be reincarnated over years.
Okay.
So I think it might be, if it is a prequel, a past Keanu Reeves. So, because the reason is there's a character named Morpheus, and he's played by Lawrence Fishburne.
I've seen the memes, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, he wasn't listed in the cast, and apparently they're looking for a young version. So it might be some sort of weird prequel sequel sort of deal. But
Pre-sequel, yeah.
yeah. So if it happens, that's coming out. The rumor is 2021. So we've kind of already joked that 2021. Look out for that Matrix retro. Only 3 movies.
I've always wanted to watch them, but just never had a reason to. So this is definitely the reason, if any. So.
First film is maybe I could say a top 10 science fiction film all time. The other 2. Woof.
Yeah.
Not good.
Sharp downhill.
Oh, real sharp downhill. Yeah, you're talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Reminiscent of Men in Black, possibly.
Yeah.
The 4th.
So, yeah, that's all. I think that's everything. Yeah, and like I said, D23 will cover this weekend. Video game news. Let's talk about this. Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
Dropping
Good
some
stuff
during Gamescom. They didn't have a panel or anything Gamescom. I think they just dropped this news because it's just...
Yeah.
This news is going around about video games,
Yeah,
So.
I mean, the whole marketing for Ultimate Alliance has been very bizarre.
Yeah.
So,
but it's working. At least it's sold. We don't have exact numbers, but it's sold. I would say good enough or good, because there's 4 games that came out last month, and it was the 4th one. But to me, I said in our group chat that if it was any lower than that, that would have been a bad sign.
there was no way it was going to beat Fire Emblem out.
Yeah. But at least to me, if any older games for the past month beat, I would have been, not doing that well. But I think it's done good enough. I think fan support's been good. People still talk to us about it. I hope these DLCs are good, but it was titled Curse of the Vampire.
Sure is.
And then they've announced a few modes. A gauntlet mode that is a co-op mission of you going through a bunch of different challenges back to back.
Right. And then the endurance mode.
Endurance mode, yeah, which I imagine just going to be waves, right, of enemies coming at you.
I imagine so, yeah.
Which I'm down for. I love that type of stuff.
So
Lord of the Rings game had that. I loved it. Just getting Aragorn going through 20 waves of orcs.
Definitely, because to me, I finally, just a few days ago, actually, finally got 3 stars in all the trials.
Congrats.
I got all the boxes, so I've beaten all the missions on all the difficulties. So I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm bored, but I'm out of content. Where some people, I guess, for them to consider it done is when they get everyone to level 100. For me personally, that's not really my requisite for done. I think I've kind of finished all the content in the game as of right now. Excited, in just a couple weeks we're getting a couple new characters. So that's going to be really fun. But I'm I think this endurance mode will be perfect because if it's well done, at least it'll be just kind of like an endless flow of content. Because going back and replaying some of the Infinity Trials, I don't know. Some of them are fun, but it's not
really good, and some are kind of meh. But that's classic Marvel Ultimate Alliance, right? Those discs and the comic book missions have always been But I would say that this game has more good ones than bad ones. I'd say
definitely. I just don't know if there's a whole lot of replayability there for them.
Yeah.
So and there's also a new. I'm guessing one full Infinity Rift for it coming with this DLC. It might maybe they just tack on a few levels onto the other trials. Maybe it's a full new one. Maybe it's a small one. I'm not really sure.
I think it would be a small one. I bet
I think they can easily do that because all the trials are have different quantities in them and they are shaped differently and stuff. So even if they just tack on this new little branch off of another one or add it as this new Marvel Knights one. Either way, that'll be pretty cool to have some new stuff there. But I think endurance mode to me is the most exciting because it just seems like a good essentially endless amount of content if it's made well. And that's what I was hoping for. Before the game came out, they didn't talk about it, so I wasn't expecting it. But I was hoping for some sort of endless content thing. It's Diablo has that too, where you could just get random dungeons and you just keep going and going and going.
Yeah. And I would love that because it's just okay, this time I'm gonna play the X-Men and see how long I get. And you can that would be great to level up those characters if you want to get them to 100. Because the gauntlet mode to me, I don't know. It sounds like you do a bunch of challenges. That one I'm iffy on as far as because it's very vague. I don't know. That could be fun or is it just something very repetitive, right?
I'm guessing we have very little info on no info on these other than the name, so it's a lot of speculation. But to me, it kind of sounds like it'll be kind of like a specific Infinity trial where it's some certain challenge set up, and then you just I'm guessing it's just kind of those back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess you have to fight maybe one boss in each round or something with a bunch of bad guys. I'm not really sure how that one's going to work. It sounds kind of like the endurance mode, except it'll probably be a lot harder. It'll start harder, and it'll be very hard the whole way through, but
and
just shorter.
And maybe some objects, like there's Infinity Rift, literally where it's one where you just got to go turn off all the restore the whatever system. So those could be the challenge.
I could even see like that gauntlet mode being like not necessarily a requirement level 100, but like a good late game content. So you really need to be high ranked to like accomplish those. Like they might be really difficult.
Yeah, because
I think that would be good, because really the hardest thing for me in the game is actually like to get a couple of the boxes in the story mode. You have to fight, like in the X-Mansion level, you have to fight Corvus and Proxima, and like that fight is supposed to be really hard. You're supposed to die to it. It's like part of the story, but you can actually beat those fights.
Have you done that yet?
To beat it on Ultimate, that was the last thing I had to do,
Yeah.
and I had to level up some characters. Like my highest level was like 90. I had to get like over 90 to beat it. It was quite a challenge. So I could see the gauntlet mode being something that requires like level 100s or 90s or so.
Because all it says is right here, in gauntlet mode, up to 4 players take on an intense series of co-op challenges in rapid succession to earn rewards. So that's the all thing we got listed. One thing I'll ask you about a box, just a little off topic, is on the Wakanda level, how did you get that box that's on the left there without...
On the bridge?
Yeah, because so many times will bring a character there, I try and then they'll run away.
The CPUs run away. I had to turn on a second controller.
Okay, good to know.
I struggle with that one.
Very game breaking if you don't have anyone else, I think. Because anytime people just kept running away, I was like, this is bullshit.
I mean, at least the good thing is, no matter what, if you own a Switch, you have technically 2 controllers, so you can do that no matter what. But yeah, that one was pretty hard. The CPUs do not, and there's snipers all around too, so you'll just get killed.
And then you just got this huge beam going around. And because then when I replayed it, once I
and
bought
then as
the
soon
game,
as you take out the cannons, it, like you get progressed.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I bought the game, playing the story again. I'm like, I'll just break those cannons, and then I can go back. It's like, you're here going to fight Claw. It's like, oh great, okay, good to know. And then we talked about endurance mode.
Yeah, I guess if you didn't know, if you haven't been keeping up, the 4 characters in this pack, the 4 playable characters are Blade, Moon Knight, Punisher, and Morbius.
Let's talk about them.
We finally got to see. We see like small picture, but still like what is going to be their in-game model was before we just saw concept art.
100%. Yeah.
So what do you think of their looks?
So I got them right here. Blade and Moon Knight look fantastic.
I agree.
Moon Knight kind of has 2 looks going on in the comics right now. He has this one which I want as an alternate. I don't think we'll get it. It's like he literally just has the mask, but then it's a suit version. Like it's a whole suit, but it's like Moon Knight. Like,
is it white still?
Yeah, it's white and black. You gotta look it up. And then the other one is this one. It's like a lot more sleeker. You can see where if you look at the old Mall of Ultimate Alliance or the comics, his hood's very rigid and he's very bulky. All of it, like it's a hood.
Does that other one have a name? The suit one?
Just put a Moon Knight dress suit, and I think it will come up.
I'll see if I can Google
But this one, you can see the hood. Even though he has a hood, it looks like it's all one piece. It's very smooth on him. I love the design.
Yeah, I like the design, like on his chest there.
Yeah, the crescent moon there and everything. So he's looking great. I can't wait. Blade, he just looks great. He looks like Blade. I think it's a hard look to screw up, but excuse me, he looks fantastic. I can't wait. I'm on that merch.
That kind of look?
Yeah. It's so cool.
It almost looks like cell shaded or something. Yeah, really cool.
So it's I don't think we'll get that, but they introduced it a few years ago in one of my favorite runs, and it's really cool. But it's kind of back and forth between that. Morbius, I like the look. He looks like I'm excited to see his face not scrunched up because he's showing off his teeth, and they gave him like a.
The thing with Morbius is he always looks pretty goofy.
Yeah. So for me, the other one, like I don't think he looks bad, but I don't think he looks great. Is Frank Castle?
He's very chunky. Yeah,
he is, and especially because the thing that's strange is in the concept art that they showed, he looked very kind of slim. He looked very kind of Garth Ennis Punisher.
Yeah, I wonder if they just pulled those pictures off of like Google search or something, or if those were actually made by the Ultimate Alliance team.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think you said in the group chat it might look better in gameplay, and it's not that it looks bad. It just caught me off guard. His face is really blocky, like you said. He's very chunky.
I'm sure it'll look fine in game. I honestly, the only character I was kind of iffy on Gamora and Hawkeye's look like before the game came out, but I actually love their look in game. So
yeah, true.
I'm totally cool with it.
The only thing I won't love is just I hope he's not as bulky as this picture makes it seem to be, because Punisher's not a big guy. He's not like
I picture him always having like a kind of a narrow face.
Yeah, where this like his chest, he's looking like he's the size of Cap or like Thor, and he's not that. He's like he'd probably be somewhere in the size of Wolverine, maybe a little smaller, but he's just like a guy that works out a lot. So I didn't love that, but honestly, it just got me really excited seeing the actual pictures, and that's what I mean. It's I don't love the look, but it's not like I agree with Dylan that the look of Gamora has grown on me. But even when I saw it first, like I don't like that. Even Hawkeye, I wish he had a different look. This is still close enough where I like it. He has the classic like chest plate. We can't really see his bottom, but I'm hoping his teeth come out. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I love that in the images is Gunn, because I'm hoping big time that he has the attack of Nick Fury from Marvel Alliance 1. I doubt that, but some characters...
I hope so.
I just don't understand. If Captain Marvel can shoot the beam and you can just hold and she holds that beam, why can't... I guess you can't move, but why can't, someone have a gun and just...
Well, even, some characters have, like, kind of like a spinny attack, like Ghost Rider, Daredevil has one, but then Miss Marvel, you can still move around while doing her.
Yeah.
So I really hope they add, like, for Punisher or Blade or both, like a gun attack where you can move around a little bit.
It'd be great.
Just to have some... I mean, it just feels better when you have a little bit more control.
Especially if you're a human character, you know. What I was going to ask is, what do you think the levels these characters come in at?
Like, what level do they start at?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple ways to do it. I think you could just put them at, like, a clean, like, 50 and just call it a day. That's good enough. You get your abilities and stuff. But they could also make it like an average of what your character's levels are already.
Okay.
I don't know if they would do that, because if someone has...
Black Widow's
based on the Discord, a lot of people have, full 100 level teams. Then you would, like, there's not really anything to unlock there. You kind of start with it all, so that would be kind of weird. I guess it depends on how you unlock them, really, because if you just get them...
That's what I was
If
wondering.
you just get them by default, I could see, like, an average being maybe a good system, or even just like a base, like 40, 50, something like that. But if they are unlocked in a chapter, which we actually, from this post, don't have a confirmed chapter with that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty good chance we're going to get a chapter, and that could be...
See, I'm taking the negative route of I don't think there's, because this press release, I thought they would have had it in here, right?
Maybe. I guess the way I see it is like... Because the reason that makes us think we have a chapter is on the DLC page on, like, the website. It says well, I guess it doesn't say every, but it says each DLC. It'll say DLC will come with new modes, characters, and story chapters.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily say each pack will have a chapter or two. It doesn't, like, give a specific amount. But I just feel like the fact that it's called Night of the Vampire is, like, to me the Curse of the Vampire is, to me, the giveaway that it's going to have a chapter. Because if not, then wouldn't you just call it the Marvel Knights pack? Right, because if there's no level or, like, story tied to it, then why does it have that name? Because that doesn't really fit for particularly Moon Knight. But I heard someone say, like, Punisher does have some storyline where he's connected with vampires, but it's not really associated with his characters. So really, that name would only be associated with two of your characters.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they just call it Marvel Knights at that point? So I think they will have a story, like a chapter, and I think that's where you unlock the characters. I don't know if you'll unlock multiple of them at the start, but I could see you starting with, like, Blade and Punisher or something. You have to go and maybe you, like, run into Moon Knight, and then maybe you fight Morbius and unlock him. Maybe he's an unlock in the Infinity Rift. I'm not sure, but I feel like I feel like they will do that instead of just giving them to them as, like, free unlocks.
Yeah.
Like, or I guess unlocks that would just pop on your screen immediately. Like, you should have to get them.
Yeah, the only reason I thought that they would be doing dropping them all right away is because you're paying for them. So I thought they might not want to go you got to unlock them. You've paid $25. Here they are. So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I could say
at the same time, I mean, if you're buying that, you're definitely going to play through the mission, and it's like, I don't know, the missions, they aren't really that long. Like, I don't think the DLC one would, I don't know what kind of length they would be. I can't imagine it'd be any longer than, like, what's the longest chapter in the game? Like Asgard? That's probably the longest one. That or Wakanda. So, yeah. I hope it's not as short as, like, Adelan or the Kree Warship, but I doubt it would be quite as long as Wakanda or Asgard. I think it'll be, like, kind of middle of the pack, like an X-Mansion or maybe like a Avengers Tower sort of length level. I'm hoping it's somewhere in the middle. But honestly, because it is DLC, I could honestly see it being Atlan. I'm just getting a little taste. You get new characters, you get the challenges, you get the gauntlets. It could even just be, like, it's called Curse of the Vampire. I could see it being, like, in Dracula's castle or something. You just want Dracula's castle so bad. Well, I just feel like that unless Morbius is your final boss, who else is your final boss going to be if that's your level? Yeah. I just think because those characters, all of them are from New York. Almost, well, not all of them, but it's called Curse of the Vampire, so clearly Curse of the Vampire on New York. You know, I don't know. That's my prediction. Yeah. It's in New York, and I guess maybe you fight Morbius. It could be. It very well could be. I guess because maybe Morbius is the one you unlock. I guess Shadowlands is technically in New York, but it doesn't really feel like New York. So they could do, like, a very authentic sort of New York level. Yeah. I mean, they kind of did. First half of Shadowlands is very much just New York. So yeah. I don't know what they'll do with it, but either way, this is great news. Like, I think there will be a chapter. I just really feel like there will. Even if there's not, I'm pretty excited for mainly Endurance Mode, but Gauntlet. I agree. I just want to hear more, but it sounds, Geek First Gauntlet, it's a good word. Oh, yeah. It's a good word. Infinity Gauntlet, we're all about the G's. And that Blade look is just amazing. Yeah, so. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do a tier list in September after Cyclops and Colossus come out. We're gonna play at them for a bit, and we're gonna do our new tiers.
I had one more question for you on this DLC. So the rumor is, or possibly they confirmed it at Comic-Con, but we just don't really know for sure, is that there's gonna be 3 costumes coming with Colossus and Cyclops, like full costumes, not recolors. What do you think is gonna happen for these characters in the DLC? Do you think they're gonna come with a recolor? Do you think they're gonna come with a costume? None at all, and then they maybe release some later?
I would say the recolor. I think just to be the safe route, I think they'll do that because I think they'll say, "Oh, the DLC is enough," and then you get a recolor.
Right.
That's about it. If, like I said, if there was alternates, I want that suit costume. But if not, then
that'd be cool.
Yeah. If not, I guess we'll get some other probably golden, a little white and gold with Moon Knight. He's rocked that before. So
yeah.
Anything else?
Not on that. No.
No. Avengers. Gameplay officially came out. There's a few stuff.
It's the same as far as I know. It's the
same as E3.
Yeah, it's the same as E3. The same as what was it? Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So
I think the only thing they had a panel that they stressed. I watched gameplay. Like I'm kind of in the middle. I'm definitely someone that's just hoping the game's good. The gameplay didn't look amazing. I don't think it looked like outright awful, but nothing that's gonna stand out. But apparently, because I forgot to pull it up, but they did. It seemed like they stressed again that it is more just like a single player game. That seems to be forming now with like these. I think they're calling them Warzone missions that you can do in co-op and whatnot. Yeah. So at least they're kind of clear. It sucks that E3 they weren't clear, but it seems like now, like we talked about, whether that was a facade or whether they just misspoke, that it seems it is more a single player game with multiplayer being the add-on. Maybe down the line they'll flesh that out and whatnot. And yeah, and I think the other thing they confirmed was AIM is in this game, and some people have said that's another reason why Ant-Man might be playable, because they have this AIM tower that took over Avengers Tower after A-Day with villains. So in the clip that they showed of Hank Pym, he has a robot that has the same color scheme as the AIM robots. So people are saying that like, oh, he's helping you out and whatnot. But yeah, I don't have too much to add on this. I'm just hoping for the best. I think it's a game we're gonna be getting just so we can review it. But I'm not too hyped on it. I'm just hopeful. It's just fun at least. I'm not looking for a game of the year like Spider-Man because I don't expect that now after everything we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it seems almost like Ultimate Alliance. It's going to be a game that will keep on giving in terms of adding characters and areas, missions, bosses, and that they've said is going to be free, and then they've kind of gone back on it or said that like, oh, we'll have like cosmetics that you can pay for and stuff like that. So, I mean, at the very least, like it's a game that maybe could like blossom into something beautiful at some point. Yeah. But I don't know. How do I feel about the gameplay? I feel pretty. I don't want to say let down. It's pretty much like right on par with what I was expecting, I guess, because the reports we heard from people who had seen the gameplay originally said, "Oh, it looks maybe kind of cool, but a little clunky," and that's exactly how I feel about it. I just felt like the characters moving around felt a little weird. The one who looked the best was Hulk, which I'm pretty sure also lines up with what a lot of people were saying back at E3.
Yeah, everyone said the Hulk was the funnest.
He looked the most fun. The rest of them, I don't know. To me, like they just looked like there was some weird balance stuff going on. Like Cap was throwing some shield and just insta-killing some bad guys, and then he went up and like was punching and kicking them and took like a lot of hits, and then it's like he just like backed up and started throwing his shield again. It's like what's really the point of doing anything except throwing your shield? Like it just seems like there's some weird balance. And
he
even
gets tired, it's heavy shield.
I guess so. So what? You're gonna go kick a guy that's like less energy? I don't know.
Maybe. And then it's a heavy shield. It's made from vibranium.
It's true. Yeah. And he's pretty tough though. He's got the serum in him. Yeah. But even like I don't know, Thor. It just felt weird that like there's just like some like generic bad guy who takes like 4 to 5 hits from Mjolnir to get taken out. And I understand from a game balance wise, like you can't be too easy, but it just didn't look right to me. I was kind of rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah.
And the art style is, I don't know, it's very like safe, I guess. The characters don't really look that good. So
I do like that, and who knows how they'll look, but at least they talked about again that I do like that there'll be other costumes. So I'm hoping those other costumes are looking
to me
spiffy, not spazzy.
Yeah, the costumes are cool. To me, the biggest point of intrigue from this game from the get-go was the idea of co-op. So this trailer didn't have any of that. It just showed some single-player sequences, and so it makes me a little concerned, like how much of this game you can play with your friends. I mean, we already have heard some stuff that makes it seem like you can't really. You should probably play this game solo first and then jump in with some friends. But I'm curious what that's going to look like, because that could be really fun. But I don't know. We just haven't seen that yet. So
yeah, they said apparently the next big drop. So I imagine maybe some bigger details, another trailer, something like that, is going to be New York Comic Con in October. So that sounds like when they're going to do it. So I hope.
Hopefully they have. Well, they'll definitely have something new at that point. So that'll be good.
I hope so. I think they gotta really turn the tide. I think at least this game will sell just because it has the Avengers name, and I think people will be curious about it, so they're gonna buy it. But I think they do need to. They gotta start turning the hype around a little bit. You know, some more announcements, some more kind of talking about, like we said, the multiplayer things like that. Because as of right now, hype has definitely gone down from it when it was announced. So I hope, and who knows? I hope it's one of those games that had kind of a shitty marketing scheme or didn't go well, and then when it comes out, like I said, I'm not expecting Game of the Year, but at least if it's fun, a good time, I have a fun time playing with the individual Avengers, I'll be happy. So
yeah, it's like almost like an in between. You know, Spider-Man PS4 was just awesome gameplay and stuff. But yeah, if you're only focusing on one character, you can really hone that down. And then Ultimate Alliance has like simpler characters, but there's just a shit ton of them. So this seems like it's maybe somewhere in between where you have some more character depth, but you have a few more characters to play. So to me, I don't know. I'm curious to see what the levels are like, because this first thing that we've seen is very much just like a kind of a basic set piece. So I wonder how the other levels will be, because there wasn't really like a level, like an aspect of like traversing these levels. It's just like a very linear path. So
and I wonder how
if the whole
campaign is too.
Exactly right. Like if the levels are that simplistic and yeah, it's not that long. Like where's the replayability? Why am I going to come back for months and months? And yes, maybe to try a new character, but if you have no like interesting levels to play, then what's really the point? And I think that's really important. Like Ultimate Alliance, the levels really aren't that, like the level design isn't really that interesting, but there is still like just a lot of fun to be had there. It's like it doesn't matter so much, but for this, I think you really need some interesting levels. So I don't know. It's always hard to tell when you only have this little snippet of gameplay.
Yeah.
It's not really anything new, but I guess it's finally good to see it on the big screen. So
yeah.
Still kind of, I don't want to say deflated, just uninterested, which is not the feeling we should have, especially with how big of a turn, or like how quickly it turned from like initial hype to just kind of being unimpressed.
All downhill. Yeah. Anything else you want to shout out before we end this cast?
I don't think so.
No. You know where to find us. All in the description down below for the video and audio feeds. Like I said, there's going to be D23. There's going to be some good stuff dropping on the channel.
Yeah.
It reviews out in a few weeks. The It Chapter 2, so that'll be fun. So, yeah. Go check it all out. If you like what we did here, please leave us a 5-star written review, or just a written review. If you don't like us, you can tell us why. Maybe you hate that we made some sense with Sony. You know, maybe you're the Disney execs and you're giving us.
Hey,
1
we
stars,
love to have these conversations. So whether it's on our Facebook page or the DMs, whatever it is, talk to us about it.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'm not sure when you'll hear from next, but it won't be boring.
Bye-bye.
Hour.